Hi, this is Paul at School Bus Talk. At School Bus Talk, we talk about everything having to do with school buses, focusing on getting our kids to and from school safely to promote learning. On this episode of School Bus Talk, I'm going to do an incident review of a rear end school bus collision in Shreveport, Louisiana. That dramatic video came from the school bus's onboard surveillance cameras. We'll take a closer look at this video later in this episode because there's a lot to learn from this school bus driver's excellent performance. The facts of this school bus crash are that at about 7:30 a.m. on Wednesday, January 16th, 2025, a tow truck collided with the rear end of a school bus, making a red light stop, picking up a student on North Market Street near the cross street of Wheeler Drive in the Caddo Parish area of Shreveport, Louisiana. The bus had 7 students on board plus the driver and was serving the Donnie Bickham Middle School. Reports are that the school bus was going eastbound on North Market Street. Here is a map image of the crash site. Please note the eastbound direction is more east-southeast. The school bus made a red light stop and deployed its red light signs when the tow truck crashed into the back of the bus. The bus was violently pushed forward but remained upright. It looks like the bus body suffered some damage to the right rear corner, and the rear differential axle and driveline may have become detached and pushed forward. The tow truck was severely damaged. The truck cab is completely crushed and mangled. Let's review the Google street level images. This is North Market Street looking east at the crash site location. North Market Street is a large 4-lane boulevard with a center turn lane, wide shoulders, and gently sloping ditches. The pavement marking looks to be in good condition. The sightline is unobstructed. It appears to be that this boulevard is a major arterial roadway. There is a large freeway interchange with I-49 just west of the crash site. The area is large lot, rural residential subdivision, and there are many side streets and driveways that encroach on the boulevard. The topography is flat with woods. The speed limit is 50 miles an hour or 80.5 kilometers per hour. Here is the speed zone sign approximately a half a mile west of the crash site or 0.8 kilometers. I speculate due to the wide traveled way and unobstructed sightline that speeding may be a problem on this boulevard in this area. Crash scene photos indicate the weather was fair. Weather data says that it was partly cloudy and 36 degrees Fahrenheit at 7 a.m. The roadway looks dry and the visibility looks okay. Astronomy data is interesting. Sunrise on January 16th was at 7:17 a.m. The sun came up at 114 degrees on the horizon. That's east-southeast. The crash happened about 13 minutes after sunrise, so the sun would have been low on the horizon. The bus and the truck were driving almost directly into the bright sunlight of the sunrise. Sources for this video are listed in the description. According to reports, 4 students on the bus had minor injuries, were treated and released. The tow truck was owned by Bricks Towing Company. The tow truck operator suffered life-threatening injuries and was rushed to the hospital. There's no updated information on the tow truck operator's condition. Well, at last reports, the crash was still under investigation by the Caddo Parish Sheriff's Office. My heart goes out to all the victims of this crash. It must have been a tremendous shock to all the victims. The crash was terribly violent. Let's now go to the video that was provided by the school district that came from the school bus's onboard surveillance system. There's a lot to learn on this video. The video is a split screen with the driver's view forward on the bottom and the interior view of the school bus on top. Let's first look at this video in actual speed. You can see that the sunrise is right above the horizon, directly coming up in the face of the driver. Your student moves towards the bus when pow, the collision occurs. The driver is a little shooken up, but reacts very professionally. I like this. She immediately sets the brake on the bus, picks up the two-way radio, and calls for help. She's calling for help. Some of the students start moving forward and off the bus, and she tells them to go back on the bus. I think that's really a smart thing. She doesn't know how safe it is outside the bus right now, so before she evacuates the bus, I think she's calling for help. And I assume that after she calls for help, she goes off the bus and makes sure that the scene is safe so the kids can evacuate. Please notice that motorists are continuing to pass this wreck. The red lights are flashing on the bus and people still driving by. Now, finally, an SUV going the opposite direction stops. Let's look at it at quarter speed slow-mo now. Students coming onto the bus. Red lights are flashing. Coming on the bus and kablamo. The collision happens. You can see on the street what appears to be wreckage from the tow truck flies past the school bus. It was a really violent collision. I'm sure that the kids in the back of the bus were really shooken up. Let's look at it again in ultra slow-mo. This time, let's pay attention to the student coming onto the bus. Student starts climbing onto the bus. His foot is on the top step when pow, again, the collision happens, falls off the bus and onto the roadway. Let's look at it one more time. I'm really relieved that this student is okay. Later on, I'll show you an image of the student. He must have been injured and hurt because you can see that later on he's on the side of the road doubled over. What can we learn from this bus crash? First, I want to say what a tremendous job that the school bus driver did. Her performance was outstanding. It was a big, violent collision, but she remained cool under pressure, even though she must have been shook up and traumatized. Second, the sunrise and the low sun angle created a lot of glare. I'm speculating that it must have been a contributing factor in this crash. The video and the crash scene photos show how bright the glare was at the time of the crash. Let's talk about glare and review a few tips on how to deal with it. 1, don't overlook the sun visor when doing the pre-trip inspection. 2, use sunglasses. 3, reduce speed. And 4, increase following distance. Dawn and dusk are hazardous times to operate a vehicle. Unfortunately, that's often when school bus drivers are out doing their routes, picking up and dropping off students. Always use caution at sunrise and sunset. Driving at twilight is more dangerous. because there are long shadows and glare might make it difficult to judge speed and distance. Use extra caution 30 minutes before and after sunrise and sunset. Now, another thing to keep in mind on this crash is the rigorous construction standards of school buses with extra strength and weight to the vehicle body surely made a difference protecting the kids and the driver on this bus. That wraps up this episode of School Bus Talk. Please make comments on this bus crash in Shreveport, Louisiana. Remember, safety is essential.